This is the demo version of She.
It is.
Yes. What up? I think we're...
What is my up, dudes?
Yes. This is our not Halloween episode because we have a Halloween episode coming up that's
on Halloween. It's pre-recorded.
Previously taped. I kind of felt like it went all kinds of sideways and disastrously, but I watched a little bit of footage. I've already started editing it. And I think, like you said, it's kind of a behind the scenes. It's a little bit, we both had cameras. I think it's a little bit fun. I think it will be fun. I think the end product will be fun. But at the time, it's kind of one of those anything that can go wrong will go wrong moments. Yes. I do have the mask. This is sort of our famous. We've both worn this in various episodes. I will.
She's all around. She's all around. Played that song.
That was off of stage. Say it again?
Said, played that song back.
You have played that song, yes.
Live.
Live on a stage. I will be performing as Misfits of Science. I'm going to do at least one song I'm going to upload. This was the actual Misfits off of, that was the demo version of She off of the Cough Cool 7-inch that started it all. This is Grimple with Blood Gutter, which I just felt was a seasonally appropriate song. One thing I thought that was worth, so we are going to talk a little bit about Halloween. We have decorated a little bit for Halloween, but we have other stuff going on in the world, and we're going to talk about all that stuff. Including some kind of real life horrors that we kind of keep out of this show, but we're going to get to. And of course, voting, 9 days to vote here in King County. 165,000 people have already sent in their early ballots. If you haven't, get that in, get that postmarked, make sure your vote counts, of course. That's going on here locally. But no, we are going to talk a little bit about Halloween. We watched some horror movies. We watched Toxic Avenger, the actual first one, but we've been watching the Crusaders cartoon, which I think both enjoy a little bit more.
I really like the movie. The movie.
Yes. You commented, this isn't a horror movie. Do you want to give your...
It's not a horror movie. It's just an R-rated movie. It's just people doing gross stuff all the time.
One thing that you noticed that I had never quite caught before is literally the entire town of Tromaville are rapists. Not just the bad guys and the corrupt cops, but like anytime there's an opportunity to like ogle women or be gross, people in that town are like, it's actually like an enormous epidemic.
Yeah.
So that was the Toxic Avengers, Toxic Crusaders. What else? The soundtrack to that, Body Talk, the song from that, I feel is like kind of like the big hit on that soundtrack. That artist, Sandy Farina, this song goes out to your cat.
Pablo?
Yeah. The song is called Pablo.
Oh. Pablo is a black cat. So Halloween.
Yes. This is by Boba Fett Youth. So the artist Sandy Farina, who sings it, she appears in, who does the song Body Talk. She's not a huge, obviously wasn't a huge hit. It's on the soundtrack to a low budget movie. She appeared in Sgt. Pepper and the Lonely Hearts Club Band, which was the movie they made out of the Beatles album, as Strawberry Fields. She plays the character of Strawberry Fields in that. Other than that, she's mostly done a bunch of commercials and stuff, which she claims is the most rewarding aspect of her career. And just to sort of hammer that point home, on her website, the top listing is a laxative commercial that she is apparently proud of participating in. So she's proud session musician, though I guess Body Talk is her one kind of minor hit. Not available on vinyl as far as I know. The Toxic Avenger soundtrack was never put on vinyl. She has a couple of albums, but it's not on any of them. So I don't know. I will have to continue my quest for the song Body Talk on vinyl.
Yeah.
We also started watching Child's Play. We didn't get much into that. We watched the end of Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one.
Yeah.
Any impressions on that? I'm going to wear my tiara for a little bit, though, as we both discovered. It's a bit small.
The mom just fits through that.
that is the classic scene. Like, after everything else and they're out in the sunlight, she's like, it's all over. So one thing, as the convertible top opens, it's red and green striped like Freddie's sweater. So that kind of indicates, the dreams are over yet. And then they pull that, and it's so clear. But it doesn't. I love that movie. I love all the Elm Street. Well, I shouldn't say all of them. Some of the Elm Street movies more than others, but that was that. You also started to watch Hellboy. You fell asleep on that yesterday. Any impressions?
It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's the Guillermo del Toro Hellboy stands up, and that's still a good movie. But of course, we're excited for the remake.
With David Arbor.
With David Arbor from I'm not going to burn it down from Stranger Things. Deadpool 2. We liked, didn't love. I liked the soundtrack. I thought
the soundtrack was good. It was kind of disappointing too.
I felt the most disappointing thing to me was that it just kind of. It wasn't that it lacked the humor of the first one. It just kind of felt like it was going through the motions. It was like the difference between a good episode of Family Guy and a bad episode. The jokes are kind of the same, but on the good episode they hit. On a bad episode, they're just kind of the same types of jokes. They're just not funny, you know?
Yeah.
And it felt kind of like that to me.
Hey, you guys, Quagmire's a rapist. If you say that, that's just like...
Right, that's the joke. And sometimes it's like, And I think maybe it just comes down to comic timing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I felt a lot of the fighting was just not even gratuitous, like, oh my god, I'm so shocked, because I love the Toxic Avenger, and I like gratuitous violence, but just boring. Like, at least the Toxic Avenger, it's like slapstick, like the mops and the... maybe that's just me. This is...
And he would, like, pause and do monologues in the first movie, in the middle of the... But he'd be like, oh, hey, blah, blah. And, like, I guess he insulted them, but they weren't as good as...
Right, no, yes. This is Psycho by the...
The dialogue wasn't quite as good.
Yes, the dialogue wasn't quite as good. I liked the girl. So, well, I won't... Never mind, no spoilers. And then Community. We've been watching season 2 of Community. This show will definitely go a lot better if I find my name.
Okay.
Excuse me for 1 second.
Yep.
Here, do you want to look through these and show some of these off to the camera?
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Let me look through. Well.
Where I found my notes.
Oh, okay. This...
Go for it.
Oh, no. Oh, it's... I thought it was the McDonald's one.
Ronald, no, it's Pennywise.
Yeah, it's Pennywise.
Yeah.
I don't think Pennywise makes that noise. And here's Chucky.
Yes.
With, I don't know what this is.
Those are homies. Those are a brand of toy called homies. Yes. Chucky, can you hold it closer? Because it's like... Yes.
I will.
Here in Seattle, we've been enjoying... I think it's finally turned to rain, but we've been enjoying Spooky Fog.
Oh my gosh, yesterday was crazy though, the fog.
Yeah. No, just like thick and low hanging. Our fog machine is broken, making terrible noise. I'm super disappointed. I was going to hook it up just to demonstrate the noise, but it's such a... I don't think... People know what bad noises sound like. It's a terrible...
People know what bad noises sound like.
Yes. That was Psycho by The Exploited, and then I'm going to play AJR. I'm going to let you pick this time. What did you want to play that we didn't play? I feel like we finally did play drama, but maybe not.
Let's play drama again.
Yeah, okay. Let's track 5. Yes. AJR.
We act like reality shows. Probably because reality blows.
Halloween, the movie, Halloween, reboot, remake. Oh no, I guess it's a direct sequel, whatever it is. Grossed $77 million this opening weekend. It's the highest grossing film starring a woman over 55 as the lead.
Huh.
Yeah, that's interesting. people. So Charlemagne the God is a radio DJ. This is the first of 2 radio-related stories slash updates. Is a radio DJ who canceled and author who canceled on Kanye West. And a lot of people were like, "Woo, yay, Kanye's canceled, blah blah blah." But actually, what he said was, and Charlemagne the God has interviewed Kanye a lot of times. He canceled for now, not because of Kanye's politics or anything like that. He would interview him and talk to him, and they could have discussion, debate, disagree. He didn't. He's willing to interview someone who he disagrees with, which I think is an important thing to say in this world. But the reason he canceled Kanye was because Kanye, by his statement, Kanye is off his meds and now claiming that he's not bipolar and claiming that he has sleep deprivation. And so Charlemagne the God is like, okay, that's true, not true, whatever. I have my thoughts on that. Until he figures that out, there's not much of a conversation to have. Charlemagne the God himself suffers from PTSD, and he thought sort of 2 black men discussing mental health and the stigma around mental health is an interesting discussion. One of those men now claiming, "Oh no, I don't have any problem. I just need to get some sleep," is not such an interesting. So that's why he canceled on him, not. You know. So I thought that was interesting and nuanced, and we are increasingly live in a world where nuance no longer exists, where everything is black or white. Yes, no, Kanye's canceled. Kanye's written some great, brilliant music. I don't know where to put the context of that now, but I don't know. In any event. Speaking of not sure where to put the context, Tracy Chapman, an artist I really, really like and respect, has sued Minaj over the usage of a song called Baby Can I Hold You, which Nicki Minaj samples in her song Sorry featuring Nas. She refused an after-the-fact request for composition, which an artist can do, I guess. Nicki Minaj used it. Nicki Minaj ended up pulling it from her album. This is why it's the second of 2 DJ-related. Pulling it from her album, but then Funkmaster Flex, who was a radio DJ, ended up leaking it on Hot 97, a New York radio station. So Tracy Chapman is suing because of that leak, which she claimed. All of this, here's what I don't understand.
That's not fair to Nicki Minaj.
Well, I mean, okay, the people behind Tracy Chapman are saying, well, it's her art, it's her music, it's her right to be contextualized or recontextualized or to decide how her music appears, how her art appears. Yes. It's important to note, Tracy Chapman has... I'm going to turn down my mic. I'm booming. Oh, that's your... I'm echoing through your mic.
Oh, shit.
Tracy Chapman has... this song is called Life is a Grave, and I dig it. Tracy Chapman has been infamously, she doesn't allow her music, like a lot of people, especially her song Fast Car, a lot of people would love to use that in a movie. It would be perfect for any kind of, it sets such an, it takes people back to such an emotional place so quickly. It would be perfect. I'm sure, like, lots of people have tried to use it. She did finally allow it to be used on the final season of Girls, the TV show Lena Dunham, which is fine. It's important to note Tracy Chapman is an artist of color, a woman of color. Lena Dunham is not, and has been called out many, many times for the TV, in particular for the TV series Girls, because it does not feature a lot of people of color or representation. Especially suspicious since it's set in Brooklyn, and it's like this whitewashed vision of Brooklyn. And it was bad. We both love Friends, but it was bad enough that Friends' vision of New York in the 90s was all white, but that was at least Manhattan. Like, this is Brooklyn in modern day. There's no way it would, But so, in any event, yes, Tracy Chapman has her rights, but I wonder why she would not only deny her the right, refused to even speak to her. Nicki Minaj tried to reach out and say, hey, let me tell you why I respect and love your music, and Tracy Chapman refused to even speak with her, and then actually go as far as to sue her for a song that was never even officially released, or has... It feels petty. But
that is petty.
Yeah, but
that's like Taylor Swift and Katy Perry. Petty.
Speaking of, we already talked about this. Katy Perry officially. Oh, yeah. Do you know that she actually literally sent Taylor Swift olive branch? She sent her a wreath made of olive branches.
This bitch, did she make it herself?
Probably not. I'm sure she bought it from one of those. Yeah. In other music news, we have ordered 21 Pilots album Trench, the new one. So that's on its way.
I've listened to a few of the songs off of it.
It's not super grabbing you yet.
No, not super a lot. It's been out for a few months and I've only listened to like 2 or 3 songs off of it. And that's because Danny really likes it.
Right on. So this is now finally available on a 12-inch, and I want it because I have an issue with 10 inches because I feel like you don't listen to them as often. Like you forget about them because they have their own weird little section, and you have to flip them so often that they're like an inconvenience. Like I don't. So anyway, Trenches on 10 inches. But now Fall Out Boy will have another emo band in the 10-inch section, so it won't be long.
Yes. Steven Universe is an emo band. Sorry.
Definitely. Steven Universe is an emo band. Machine Gun Kelly, arguably an emo rapper, was spotted hanging out with Pete Davidson. This is our official Pete Davidson report for the week.
We have Pete Davidson watch, guys.
Yeah, Pete Davidson watch. He was also seen at a comedy show in LA joking about covering up his tattoos. Ariana Grande will be appearing in the Wicked 15th anniversary special. People are kind of freaking out about that because it's on NBC, which is his network. Ooh, but girls gotta work. Cardi B, and I know I feel like I'm pushing her, was paid $15 million to appear at a bar mitzvah in New York? That's what New York bar mitzvahs are like. Like, they literally get, like, Cardi B.
That's quite dumb.
There was another competing bar mitzvah the same weekend that had their own, like, professional rapper. Okay, this is going to be our 10-inch of the week. This is by DeWolf Music. And speaking of Sandy Farina, speaking of, like, so this should be on the Dawn of the Dead soundtrack, but it's not, because the Dawn of the Dead soundtrack features original music by Goblin. This is probably the most famous song used in the movie Dawn of the Dead. It's called The Gonk.
The Gonk.
I know, it's this funny name, and it's for a funny scene. This is used in the scene in the mall where the zombies are all kind of wandering around and bumping into each other. So it is a comical scene. So, kind of hard to find on vinyl, so this is, like I say, world premiere for our channel. I am super excited to actually have The Gonk. Yes. Standalone Boba Fett movie has been canceled. It was delayed and now officially canceled. People are kind of... So I guess this is in favor of The Mandalorian, which is a TV series that's being directed by Jon Favreau, or produced by Jon Favreau, who directed the first 2 Iron Man movies. One of the directors lined up for this TV show, Taika Waititi, who directed Thor, Ragnarok. People are excited about that show. I think people are also disappointed that the Boba Fett movie isn't happening. That character is going to be someone who wears that style armor but is not Boba Fett or Jango Fett. It's a new character.
Maybe it's his son.
Right, something like that. Maybe.
It's just going to be the same outfit, just red this time. Every single time they just get a new one and give it a different color.
Right. But here's the thing. So the Obi-Wan movie was officially canceled. This is all kind of after Solo.
Well, Solo kind of got mixed up.
But people are still saying, actually, Solo's really good. It's a shame no one saw it. It's The Last Jedi that sucked, and Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, is still getting his own standalone trilogy of Star Wars movies. That's still been greenlit. That's still happening. They still don't quite see... I don't know.
Wait, The Last Jedi was the...
That's the one where Luke is there in the snow and he's fighting. We watched it in the theater and we watched it on video, and neither time did we... What
was the other standalone one that's new?
We loved that. Rogue One. That was good.
Rogue One was really good.
Yeah, everyone says that. Like, everyone, and like, everything that people like, Disney's like, we promise we won't do any more of that. And everything that people are pissed about, Disney's like, no, we're going to do 10 more. We promise. They just seem to not quite be matching up.
Do you guys pay attention to, like, your Twitter
fan
feed?
Expectation? Yeah. Okay, in I'll Be There For You, I'll Be There For You news, a thief in England was accused of stealing wine, but based on the still shot that the police released, many people were saying it was David Schwimmer, and it did. This guy he has one of those faces, like kind of an every guy kind of face, but this guy looked like David Schwimmer to the point where David Schwimmer posted his own picture in a convenience store, like running away with beer, and like he was like, it wasn't me, or something like that.
I need to see the picture.
Yeah, I will. All right, let's see if we can do this now. Real time. Add image. This is the best song ever.
It's
I'm
so long. I love
excited.
I need to have a button that just plays this
yes.
on my phone.
Oh my god, I need to set this as my yes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Desktop video forever.
Dad's computer is a mess of random photos from the internet.
Yes, I do. Whoops.
Is that David Bowie? No, it is not.
Where are we looking?
Your computer screen.
Oh no, not David Bowie.
I really thought it was from this angle, but it is not.
This is Do the Zombie by the Eyeliners.
Loser.
Yes.
That's what the record middle says.
Which is
Sub Pop.
Sub Pop, yes. Okay, we are looking for a picture of.
The picture of the guy that looked like David Schwimmer that was stealing the beer or the wine.
Lots of people. Okay, it was Fashion Week in Japan.
There's so much just models wearing. It's cool stuff to look at.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande? Was that Ariana Grande?
It was.
Why is it? What?
Naked Betty Boop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may have to save it for next episode. We have to come back to it.
Rip.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I think it was a screenshot. So hopefully I'll find it. Oh, but I did. Oh, wait, there it was. We actually found it. Nice. Okay. This is. We'll find out if this is David Schwimmer or the guy. Here, hold on. I'll bring it. That's the guy. That's the guy. That does look like David Schwimmer, doesn't it? Yeah, that's the actual guy.
That's my mood. David Schwimmer looking incredibly guilty while thieving.
And then I actually randomly, that wasn't what I was looking for, but I randomly found a picture that went with our next story, which isn't super that exciting. But there we go. So, on one of the Marvel TV shows, and I believe it's on Daredevil, they've got John Wesley Shipp, who is that Flash, along with the current Flash, who this character, they've now retroactively or retconned this character be that character's dad. That's also Dawson's dad.
From Dawson Creek.
Yeah, from Dawson Creek, played the 90s Flash, and now he's returning briefly in a cameo appearance.
That's funny.
This is MC Lars, Zombie T-Rex.
Halloween.
Yes. Okay. That Marvel Arrowverse is what they refer to it. This episode is dedicated to James Karen. He's an actor. He died. He was in Return of the Living Dead, among many other things. Just wanted to dedicate to that. What was our feeling about, not necessarily about the content of the story itself, but listening to books on tape? I had never done it before. Had you done it before?
Was like that morning with that Thursday
yeah.
That was okay. That was good, I guess.
I found it a little bit difficult because it really called attention to me, the difference between like visual and like auditory and like I don't know.
Yeah, I had a hard time focusing.
I had a hard time focusing, though I felt like I could follow the story. I don't know. Children of Blood and Bone. That was interesting. That was an interesting experience to me. I don't know if books on tape are a thing for me. All right, spoiler alert. They have now revealed on their Halloween episode the character who dies on season 10 of Modern Family. Remember we said that a family member died?
Oh, shit.
Do you want to know?
Yeah.
Okay. It's Dee Dee.
Who's Dee Dee?
The mom. It's
Oh.
yes. Fans, however, are pissed because when they said family member, people feel tricked because they assume they meant a main cast member. People have pointed out that even though she has been on since the beginning, she's actually only been in 7 episodes. She's not like an enormous. So for the record, they killed her character off screen. She doesn't appear in the episode, though you do hear her by voice in a voicemail. In the episode, her character is supposedly on a trip with her women's group and dies peacefully in her sleep. Some fans are pissed. So many fans are relieved. Oh, thank goodness they're not killing off any of the main characters. And then some fans are just pissed that they ruined their otherwise typically good Halloween episode with this like Dee Dee sort of, which people are saying was just like a bait for ratings, which it does kind of feel like just a bait.
Yeah.
That was that.
Kill Jay.
I'm gonna
get a.
Yeah, go for it.
Not water. This thing that tastes slightly more like fruit than the other thing that very slightly tastes like fruit.
Yes. HBO has announced that they are now going to have intimacy coordinators for all productions.
I don't know what that means.
I know, no one does. It's a new thing. The company I think the company is actually called Intimacy Coordinators Incorporated, based out of New York, has only existed since 2016. Their plan is to do for sex scenes what stunt coordinators do for fight scenes, to acknowledge that this is something that has inherent physical and emotional risks, and it should be done professionally and with guidance, not just, okay, guys, do your best, snicker, snicker. Some of the things that the woman. Okay, so here's the thing. Well, there are a number of pieces to this story, and actually, let me change the record first. Let me change the record before, because this is. Actually no. I'm going to play Bridge City Sinners. This is "Come On In" by the Bridge City Sinners. So, on a TV show called The Deuce, an actress named Emily Mead did a sex scene and she was uncomfortable. She went to the producer. Her character is a sex worker, so she knew going in that would be part of her job. But something about this scene made her uncomfortable. She went to the producer and said she said she was uncomfortable and she wanted them to do something about it. They did. What they did was hire this intimacy coordinator. I think, first of all, I think that's important because she's not famous. This didn't start with it. This is just a regular actress. She could have felt intimidated and just said, I don't want to make waves, which is why most perhaps, up-and-coming actors and actresses have done something in a sex scene, and when they surveyed them, they found that they didn't make them comfortable, but they didn't say anything to anyone for many of the reasons people don't. And again, we're not even talking about victims of assault, because oftentimes it's 2 actors, a director, everyone feels they're doing their best to create art, but one person's impression of what's, it gets very dicey very quickly. So they agreed. So for the next season of the TV show The Deuce, they hired this intimacy coordinator. The producer, David Simon, said after this experience, and so this person, so some of the examples she said, sometimes the director might say something like, grab her tits or something like that, and she'd be like, hey, we're at work here, this is part of explaining what her job is. Let's all use professional language to describe. So instead of saying, fuck her hard, say, how can we bring more tension to the scene? Like, she adds a layer of professionalism, but also, just like a stunt coordinator, physically showing the actors, like, how to turn your body and move this so that you're not doing things that make you uncomfortable, but doing things that actually can make the scenes more realistic. That's the other thing. People said, is this like some kind of censorship? Is this going to be someone on set who now ruins the sex scenes and makes them boring? No, her goal was to make the most realistic scenes as possible while protecting the actors, which I think is really interesting. So David Simon, the producer, a male producer, said he's never going to work without one again. So his experience was positive. He could have taken this as, oh no, they're saying my production is, why do we need that? You know, he could have gone that way.
Yeah.
But he did. HBO has now said they are never going to do a production without an intimacy coordinator again. Any production that has sex scenes, they're going to have someone like this on this. I hope this changes the industry. I honestly, this may be too soon, and I might be overstating it, but I don't know. I thought all of that was kind of really neat and positive.
Yeah.
And then I want to acknowledge Brina Kerr and Rolling Stone for some of the reporting on that. We are going to do our voting special coming up soon. In Loom news, Krista Suh, the creator of the Pussy Hat, has a Pussy Hat emoji and Vote November 6th sticker packs that are available for free on her website. I think iPhone only, but just everyone's getting that word out there. Vote. Reuven Carlisle, who is a local politician, would like to see companies put their logos on things. So, for instance, that Yes to Grocery with the 1631, where they make it sound like they're going to tax poor people's groceries, but in fact they want to tax sodas and things that, and they're entirely sponsored by the beverage industry.
Yeah.
They would have to put Coca-Cola logo, Dr. Pepper, all those logos on their flyers.
I think that should be done.
People said transparency is a good thing. That's a good thing. However, other politicians, I was listening to some politician on KUOW talking about this, saying, yes, transparency, yes, good idea. However, if you put a Coca-Cola on the logo on the flyer, people will vote for it. Pavlovian response. They will, you know what I'm saying? That actually will lend it authenticity. I don't think the average person will look at that and go, sponsored by Coca-Cola, that makes me suspicious. They'll go, sponsored by Coca-Cola, I'm thirsty.
I'm thirsty, guys.
I think that's a possibility.
Will you give me free Coke if I vote for you guys?
But I do think that's interesting. This is the Misfits are project. We're at the wrong speed. This is Dream Lover off of Project 1950 by the Misfits. Other boring but important news, get your flu shots. We still have it. We're still talking about it, but flu shots, October is the best to get them. A man in Pierce County actually died. He was in his 40s and healthy. He wasn't. Get your flu shots. Smith Tower, other local news, Smith Tower has been bought by Goldman Sachs, the investment banker. I don't know what this means. It's mostly empty. Other than the observation deck, it's got like floors and floors of office space that are currently available for lease and empty. So we'll see what they do with it. We'll see if it's probably a good thing. It's probably not a bad thing. It'll probably bring a lot of business to Pioneer Square. But Goldman Sachs is one of those like big banking companies that people are just sort of naturally suspicious of. And Smith Tower is one of those beloved institutions that people are naturally protective of. And then we said we were going to delve deeply into briefly into some of the national ugly stuff. Trump still just trying to attack trans people, but not.
Hi, please stop.
Yeah, and with no. One interesting thing that you can do to fight back, someofus.org, and I'm going to put a link in the description. They have a petition right now to stop or to get Ancestry.com and 23andMe, the other big sort of genetic testing, to state affirmatively before anyone even asks, or for all we know, they've already been asked. That they're not going to allow their genetic testing services to be used as any part of this male-female biological, to proactively say we're not going to be involved in that. Again, my feeling on that is it's not even biologically true to say I don't think you can prove or define as male and female because they're, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Just to bait his fan base on during the midterms.
Yeah.
Look who we will attack again relentlessly. Caitlyn Jenner, probably one of the world's most famous trans individuals, has finally stood up and said, "You know what? I guess I was wrong when I endorsed Trump all throughout the 2016 election and after he was elected. Let's give him a chance, guys." I'm sorry, I'm super pissed, but has finally. Yeah. Okay. But Caitlyn Jenner.
Most trans people aren't a fan of her.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
No. Is not, and has never made much of an effort to be part of a community or to, and that's what people say. You're already rich. You've got your privilege, so you don't have to fight with or for anyone else. This is Descending Angel again by the Misfits. And then in the same week that the president has declared himself a nationalist, 3 separate hate crimes. 2 people were shot at a grocery store in Kentucky. 11 people were shot yesterday in a synagogue in Pennsylvania. And a man sent packages to 13 or more typically Democratic or liberal politicians claiming that they're calling him the MAGA bomber. He had Trump stickers all over his van where the bomb-making materials were located. And people are still arguing that nationalist, that just means you're a patriot. Well, the word patriot exists for a reason. I'm not going to argue. Okay, first of all, growth mentality. I'm not going to argue what nationalist may have meant to some people at some point in history. You're using the word nationalist now. I don't believe you don't know its loaded history. You're using it on purpose. You're using it as a supremacist. If you're using it just because if you don't know that it is if you don't know that when people hear the word nationalist, they think, and you are white, they think you mean white nationalist, you should educate yourself. If you do know that, and you want to argue, no, it just means patriotism,
then you should probably look at yourself.
Then you probably look at yourself and what you're fighting for and pick a different word.
Yeah.
You're not, and stop as you're looking at yourself and looking in the mirror. You're not misunderstood. Yet people who are arguing with you are showing you exactly how you're seen and exactly what you're fighting for. A work of art created entirely by artificial intelligence has sold for $432,000. They fed a computer an artist collective in Paris I'm sorry, I have to turn.
Oh, I feel like I've seen a movie about something like this.
Probably, yeah, but this is real life now.
No, like a documentary.
Oh, okay. Yes, an artist collective called Obvious in Paris. They were expecting to sell between $7,000 to $10,000. You can still buy, I believe, off their website. That's going to be loud.
You're correct.
They believe that. I'm sorry. Give me a moment to read it. I believe that you can still buy the works of art on their website for about $10,000. They were expecting it to sell for about that much. It sold at auction for almost $500,000. How they made their work was they fed a computer about 15,000 portraits from the 14th through the 20th centuries, and then it created its own.
Yeah.
Tell me what. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen something about this, but this was like 3 years ago. I would have seen.
Yeah, this. I mean, I'm sure that the project has been going for a while. This just sold, and this may be the first. Actually, probably not the first. I was gonna say non-human art, but works by elephants have sold at auction. Works by gorillas.
Birds!
Yes, no.
Birdies. I know birdies on Tumblr that like to watercolor.
Yes. Walmart wants to convert. Did we talk about this already? Walmart wants to convert parking lots into town centers.
I don't know what that is, so we didn't talk about it. What's a town center?
Town center would be like. Actually, that's a little too obvious. I'm gonna play. Kvar min bil. I can never pronounce that because I don't speak Swedish. Which is by Per Gessel off of, there's actually off of the Left the Right One in soundtrack. Town Center would just be, it's a shopping mall. It's a shopping mall. The average Walmart Supercenter has 6 to 8 acres of parking lot. So that's actually quite a bit of space that they could put stores, restaurants, other stuff. And a lot of people are saying, oh, that's great. So Walmart's coming to town. They actually like shut down real town centers, all those locally owned businesses go out of business. And now Walmart wants to turn their parking lot into that. I mean, I don't know. Starbucks opened their first signing store in the U.S. Near Gallaudet University in D.C., which is a major deaf university. They actually have one in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, which opened in 2016. There's the first one opening in the U.S. where they're expected to have 25 to 30 signing ASL baristas. I think that's cool.
Chill.
Yeah, that's cool. Disney has.
Do each of the individual drinks have their own sign?
I don't know what they. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. And then someone online asked, "Oh, the menu's going to be in Braille," and someone like, "That's blindness, you dumbass," etc. You know, the usual.
Just fucking the menus are in Braille. Just the deaf people, just like, God damn it, I can't read Braille.
Disney has finally confirmed after decades of rumors that there are bodies interred at Disneyland. People, in fact, sprinkle ashes at Disneyland approximately once a month. They smuggle it in. They're not allowed to. There's no official way to have your relative buried at Disneyland, but people smuggle it in often enough. The employees refer to it as a HEPA cleanup. HEPA is the fine particle that vacuums have that remove the extra fine dust, or code grandma. The most popular places are the Haunted Mansion, Dumbo Ride, the Teacups, and the Pirates.
What if you put it in the river?
I don't know how they get them out of that, though. I assume that water is filtered in some way, and who knows. Yeah. So we reported about the Hubble telescope that finally went offline after 28 years. A little bit sad. The Chandra telescope, which had also gone offline at the same time, had gone into safe mode, is now back online. In fact, it was only down for 2 days. So that's still going on. And then when I was sort of whining online, wow, I'm going to miss the Hubble, someone who knows a lot more than I do posted that there are a number of telescopes and other devices, including a device that's headed towards the sun. That's going to it's basically designed to be destroyed, but it's going to get as close to the sun as it can before it gets destroyed, and it's going to take whatever imagery, information, sensors that it can.
Can I show this?
Yes, whatever it is, I'm probably interested. Oh yeah, show our cookies. We can do our CookieCam. You can bring them down here.
CookieCam.
CookieCam. They left their families behind.
You want one?
We made our. I'm good right now. Are you gonna have one?
Ooh, can I?
What are your sugar plans for the day?
I don't have any specific sugar plans.
Make a decision.
Medium one.
Okay, make a decision.
Okay. I'm deciding with a medium.
Okay. This is Granddaddy. This song can be heard on the soundtrack to 28 Days Later. The song is called AM 180. So the lottery, I guess it ended up being about less than 1.6 billion. It was not the largest ever, but it was one of the largest ever. Did we talk about this last week? These are the numbers for nerd segment. Some people were wondering what happened if you bought every possible combination of lottery tickets. So if it was 1.6 billion, there are 300 million possible combinations. At $2 each, that would actually only cost $600 million. There are a couple logistical problems with that, though. First of all, if you're not the only winner, which often happens, sometimes several people win, immediately the 1.6 billion becomes less than 500 million after taxes, so you would have spent more on tickets, and then if it gets split 3 ways or 4 ways, so immediately it's not a very good gamble. The second thing is, lottery tickets because specifically the Virginia lottery, but other lotteries have had scams where people have created computer-generated tickets. Most of them require you to, and including the big ones, that like the ones that go up to 1.6 billion, require you to fill the tickets out by hand. So you would never that ruins that. Our tip of the week comes courtesy again from Reddit, even though I'm not actually on Reddit, but that's where I got it from. Subway, the chain. Someone was asking, what is the least and most fresh? I'm not gonna get the right song. I want to do the song Invasion from Within. Sorry, that's not remotely what I want to do, but we're just going to go with it now. Subway. If you want to know what the freshest ingredients in their tables are, the least fresh ingredients are any of the chicken that are in the sauces. The teriyaki chicken or the chipotle chicken. Most items have a 2-day shelf life. First of all, how can you keep meat unrefrigerated for 2 days? That tells you how much preservatives is in all their ingredients. But the ones that are in the sauces are allowed for 4 days. So they refer to them as stinky chicken, the employees, because they kind of just add more sauce and hope for the best. But
what's the freshest ingredients?
Probably the produce. The ones you can see and tell the freshness of yourself. Like lettuce, you can tell when it's not fresh. Tomatoes, you can tell when they're wilted.
Didn't mean to do that,
but that's the classic horror comedy.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It's not even a horror movie. I don't consider it a horror movie.
No. I mean, it got coverage in Fangoria magazine, and it has a fair amount of. The climax has a fair amount of vampires and special effects. No, but
I guess, yeah.
But it's not a horror. It's not a horror. Okay. Anthony Kiedis of the Red Hot Chili Peppers was kicked out of a Lakers versus Rockets basketball game because they had courtside seats. Oh, yeah, him and Flea. Flea was not kicked out because Flea. No, first of all, that's the best part of the story is that him and Flea actually hang out together in real life. Flea was not kicked out because while he got up out of his seat, he has courtside seat, so he's right there. The basketball players were leaving the court, and he starts like rah 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 rah. He gets himself kicked out. Flea, there's a picture of him, like Flea is just sitting in his seat, like I am not with this guy. People also saying that Anthony Kiedis was wearing disguise because he had this weird kind of like hipster bowl cut and a mustache, but I'm pretty sure that's just how he dresses now. Just saying. This is the musician Toxic Avenger with Toxic is Dead, the Drop the Line mix. I think that's it. I think that's our show. We didn't play anything I was going to say. We didn't play anything else, and now that's what I call Halloween. No. Watch our Halloween show. That is pre-taped, so we will both do that. What are your plans for Halloween? Are you still going trick-or-treating?
Sit alone, dressed as Harry Potter, cry.
Yes. I will also be alone in costume and crying.
I hate myself.
Don't.
Thank you. No, but I was just doing it for the meme. I might go trick-or-treating. People will probably be like, you can't trick-or-treat. You're obviously not 2.
But I think that's okay.
I am quite short, though. There's a Halloween dance on Fridays at my school, so I'm probably going to go to that.
Are you going to go on Friday? That sounds
I think
good.
so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. That's our episode. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, Loom.
Okay. You can go if you want to. I need to do some unboxing. Wolf Cop soundtrack.
No.
Another Wolf Cop soundtrack.
No.
And then I am actually going to close out with something off of Psychobilly Pop.
That sounds interesting.
Yes.
How am I gonna do this?
Okay.
Can they see me?
I can't tell if you're on camera or not, actually. We'll find out. This is, we already mentioned Katy Perry. This is I Kissed a Ghoul by Necromantics.
Oh, and the eyeliners, because we had the Halloween episode last night.
Yes. Oh,
Or
yes.
we recorded it last night. I'm going to take off soon.
Okay. Are we? So I'm not taking your mom's. You're not go. I'm not going with you anywhere. Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
You can give me a ride, but
Where are you? No.
yeah, that's what I
I'm
thought.
sorry. Yeah.
That's why I assumed not that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Here, I will walk you out.
Okay.
Sometime.
I'm going to
3 views of a pumpkin. I think that's actually literally